Let's talk about contract jobs. And are you worried about whether your contract job will be eligible in Express Entry or not? For that, first we need to understand what is eligible in Express Entry. For Express Entry, your work experience, if it is under a valid NOC, which is tier 0, 1, 2, 3, and if it is paid, if it is within the last 10 years for foreign work experience, within the last 3 years for Canadian work experience, then this is the work experience. This is acceptable, provided you are an employee. An employee basically is where you have an employer-employee relationship. You do not own any part of the company and you are basically being paid your wages or your salary. Now, in a contract job situation where people get confused is a contract basically refers to whether a fixed period of employment, for example, you have a 6 months contract or a 1 year contract or a 9 month contract or a 2 year contract. So it's a fixed period of employment, but you are still an employee. In this case, there is absolutely no problem. If you are in Canada and if this is Canadian work experience, as long as you get pay stubs, as long as you have T4s, as long as there is an employer-employee relationship, this work experience is absolutely acceptable. You could have multiple periods of contract, you could have multiple employers, you could have different NOC codes. As long as all of them are eligible, there is no problem. All this work experience is eligible and will be counted in your application for your points. Now, the work experience which is not acceptable is contract whereby you are not an employee, but you are self-employed individual where you have incorporated your company, you have incorporation, you are issuing an invoice to your employer or whoever that might be, whoever you're providing services to, and based on those invoices, you are being paid. So there is no salary, there is no tax deductions, there are no T4s. In this case, this period of work is referred to as self-employed, and if this work experience is inside Canada, then this is not acceptable for Express Entry, this is not eligible. Same work experience outside Canada, though, is still acceptable. I hope this clarifies as to what contract work experience is and what is acceptable.